All right, what's going on YouTube? Ryan Ogren here, and today we're going to be doing another data center news video. It is 11/21/25, so this is a Friday night, 6:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and recording this before I go out to dinner. I know I didn't record yesterday, so I'm going to be doing 2 videos today. So let's see what we got. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, what's going on? Nice to meet you. I'm Ryan Ogren. I'm a private equity investor in the data center and infrastructure space. Pretty much a lot of the power infrastructure, midstream, and power generation side of things, but we've been doing some data center components as well. Obviously, you guys know it ties hand in hand. When I make these videos for deal flow, but also to bring younger people into this industry, like we have to get younger folks into this industry, otherwise we're going to be toast in about 20 years. Everyone doing deals right now in this space, they're in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. 20 years from now, the youngest of them, 40-year-old, they're going to be 60 and retiring. So these infrastructure assets and data centers are going to be around long after the guys that are doing the deals right now are going to be in the industry. So we got to get the younger folks in it. Me, I'm 28 right now, so 20 years from now, I'll be 48. So hopefully I'm still alive and kicking then, knock on wood. So let's go through what we got going on today. SEC drops investigation into Equinix following short seller accusations of accounting manipulation. Wow, interesting. Frauds everywhere, right? Then we got NVIDIA to spend $26 billion on cloud computing capacity over 6 years. That makes sense. 400 megawatt Prologis data center, San Jose County, California. So we're not seeing a lot in California. We've worked on some deals in California. This is the article I'll start with. I've looked at a couple opportunities down by the Salton Sea, if anyone that's watching this knows that spot. And the interesting thing about California is, one, the state itself is really weird. I know I was speaking with a hyperscaler, and I'll tell you guys a few different things about California and what I know is the projects that are going on over there. I was speaking with a hyperscaler, and they're just like, no, we're not going to touch anything in California. And that's coming from like one of the biggest in the industry. Now, things obviously changed, and that guy could have left. That guy could still be there. I don't know. But when they told me that, I asked why, and they just said tax. The tax issue, it just doesn't make sense. And also the earthquakes. And I said, oh, that makes sense. Because you don't want to actually build a $36 billion infrastructure asset on something that is on the fault line. So that makes sense. But I thought that was interesting. Like, people don't want to go to California. It literally could be the best state in the country. I live in Florida right now. So like Florida obviously is like one of the best by far. We have beaches, it's tropical, it's warm out always, like it's fantastic. And we also don't have state income tax. Like, that could be California, and the coastline there, it could be like literally the best state in the world, best state in the country, and it just sucks from like a business perspective as of now, as of 11/21/25. And that's my opinion, right? So that's why I have my own YouTube channel. I can make my own opinions. But interestingly enough, I know the cool thing about California, though, it's a coast, it's on the coastline, and there are a lot of these fiber lines that go on like on the ocean floor. And I know of a project that that's what they're working on. They're working on the fiber lines, and they're working on some projects to connect to those ocean floor fiber lines that go just like across the entire globe. And that's so interesting to me, because do we really have like lines of fiber that stretch all the way across the ocean? Do we actually have that? And it's bananas to say, yeah, we do to an extent, but I know there's some projects around that in California. And so that makes it interesting of like, why wouldn't you then, if you have that connectivity there, why wouldn't you want to do that? And it's just the other external factors. But it's good to see Prologis getting into the data center space, and obviously in San Jose. And I think they have a footprint out here from just their because they're just a real estate giant. I think they have like other deals in this area too. So it's good to see them. It's good to see the state of California kind of getting in the game. The company has current planned developments: Illinois, Virginia, Georgia, and Texas, as well as Paris, France. Wow. I looked at a deal in Paris, and it was a nuclear deal, which is interesting. Nuclear energy in Paris is like pretty prominent. So let's see. AWS plans more data centers near Frankfurt, Germany. Meta reportedly the company behind $1 billion $1 billion data center in Howell County, Michigan. Let's see. Previously, it had been said that a Fortune 100 technology company was behind the project, which has faced significant opposition. However, trust Bob Wilson told MLive that he had spoken to Meta personally, adding, "I'm the one who leaked the fact that it's Meta because I don't believe it should be hidden from people." Bold move from Bob. What? Yeah, so this is interesting. Majority landowner Ryan Van Gilder told MLive, "We agreed to let the buyer release who they were on their timeline. There are many reasons why all these tech companies hide who they are, but primarily because they are publicly traded." This is something that I've seen time and time again. You know, when we're dealing when we're dealing with Fortune 100 companies, we're dealing with private equity firms, we're dealing with Wall Street guys, NDAs on these things are ridiculous. I can barely breathe. And it's not they do it for a reason to tie you up or try to get you. It's really just they need to control information so they don't face unnecessary complications. There's two different strategies when it comes down to developing infrastructure. You go big and you go loud, kind of like firm, or you go extremely quiet until it's completely done, like the Meta Louisiana site. And a lot of these hyperscalers, they like to stay quiet and be unnamed because they get a little bit more flexibility, and then when they're ready to get announced, that's when they can come forward as an official public statement. And I think there's a couple reasons why. I was working on a deal with a hyperscaler, and they were not currently in this particular state, but their competitors were. And we were very far along in the conversation along this particular site that we had control over. And so it was like, we're working on this deal, and like they were butting heads with the utility. The utility wanted them to come forward. The hyperscaler didn't want to come forward just yet. The utility knew that we were not the ones behind the load request because it was like a multi-gigawatt load request from the grid in an area where the grid is like pretty close to being tapped out. So there's like this like pissing contest, like not a piss, like it's like a cat and mouse or chicken or the egg situation is like what the industry is used to. And it was just an interesting thing. When I was talking with the hyperscaler, I was like, why can't you guys just come forward, just to announce this, and we can just disclose your involvement and like where, like your interest level in this site, so they understand that you're not completely sure you're going to buy it yet. And they responded, and it was interesting. It was a very interesting response, because when they make an announcement that they're going to have a project in the state, it affects politically, it affects the state, it affects taxes, it affects deals with other states, it affects deals with other utilities, it affects, because they have multiple projects that they're working with the same utility on in that particular state, it affects those other projects, where if they came in and they wanted power to this site, and then they also wanted power to this site, but this site is further along, and then they come in and they say they also want power to this site, then the utility gets, hey, which is it? And are you going to take both of these? And then if they have a bad deal, if they had a deal go south over here, the utility can use that against them over here. So there's a lot of moving pieces and reasons why they want to stay anonymous until the time is right. And I understand that. I really understand that. And this is where I think the entire market of the colos has pretty much taken place. Like the opportunities of Crusoe and then QTS, Cyrus One, like this is where those guys have really been able to make a lot of money and have a lot of great opportunities and been a part of some great sites, is pretty much because they can come in, they still have the reputation of being a big company and someone that can do deals and request loads, and the utility is like very comfortable with them. But at the same time, like they can come in and find sites that a hyperscaler is not quite ready to announce yet, because they're just not as big as the hyperscalers, or do they have to worry about announcements and politics and like all these different things about the stock price and being a public company and all this, that, and the other. They might have to soon. They certainly might have to soon, but that's what my thoughts are on that. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So that's why I do these data center news videos, because I see something and then I can make a comment about it. A Facebook group, Stop the Data Centers, Livingston County, has also been set up with now 2,800 members. Oh, wow. Van Gogh speculated that it may be revealed if land rezoning is approved, so that he is not aware that the company has revealed its identity to anyone other than the landowners. The project has received significant pushback. September, the Planning Commission voted to recommend denying the project. 3,480 signatures, and the population's only 7,900. This data center would drastically change how as we know it, using massive amounts of energy, polluting our beautiful rural environment, increasing energy costs. Facebook group Stop Data Centers has also been set up, 2,800 members. Wow. It's pretty clear that the community does not want this data center there, and that's another reason to stay quiet about data centers and not to announce projects prematurely. So that's why Bob Wilson released this. I think he wants that opposition for them. In cases like this, guys, like this is true. If you're watching, this is when you whip out a community benefit agreement. If you're trying to get this deal done with this community, this is when you do it. If you are watching this, I doubt you are, but if you are, this is when we've had success with doing CBAs. And if you're a data center developer and you come across this, you have to be willing to do this, and it makes total sense. And you will flip the script on this opposition relatively quickly. Ideally, you would do this before they disclose who you are. That way you can control and have the board start to like work with you in the town and the economic development, understand, hey, we really want this. And then they start explaining to the people why this is actually a good thing. So it's sad to see, because I know a lot of people are like working on this deal, and you don't want you don't want a big enterprise level deal to happen and then the community be pissed off about it. Ideally, you'd want the community really excited because of all the benefits that they're going to get from that particular deal. And then you also want the project to go on because so many people like myself, also the folks that are at Meta, the folks that are at these hyperscalers, and also the developers and everyone else that's involved with the landowners and the brokers that are involved, everything. You want deals to get completed. You want deals to happen. So in this instance, like if you're a part of this deal and you are watching this video for some reason, for some way, shape, or form, drop a comment below, get in touch with me. This is where you guys need to do a CBA. That's really how you're going to be able to get this thing across the line. So that's an interesting one. Let's see. And pretty much, if you guys don't know what a CBA is, a community benefit agreement, just to boil it down, like these data centers, they make so much money when they're operational. CBA pretty much offsets the destruction that it does from the development and operations of that project to the community. And it can be cash and compensation. So now this data center that's Meta's making $50-60 million per month. I don't know, just rounding that up. They're making millions of dollars per month in these operations. I don't know how big the data center is. I don't know if it's going to be used for AI or what. But when they're making this money, the community then gets money back and compensation. And that community now, they're able to fix up their more playgrounds, school systems, better health, all different types of things that the municipality can actually do to enhance the community as a whole. And it really changes a community because they've never had a budget like this, and they've never had an opportunity to do a CBA of this nature. So this is really, and no other developer would ever do this besides a hyperscaler. And I'm not saying do this. There's definitely CBAs that happen, but I'm saying they won't be able to get as big of a CPA, big of the compensation to the community. So that's just something to look at. If you're a part of that deal, get in touch with us. Building OpenAI start. How to build a supercomputer? Let's see what else we got. OpenAI partners with Foxconn optimized data center design. I have something to say about this. Let's see what we got here. OpenAI has partnered with Foxconn to optimize data center design. The AI giant announced yesterday its partnership with Foxconn, formerly known as Hanhai Technologies. I don't know what that is. Focus on design work and U.S. manufacturing readiness for the next generation of AI infrastructure hardware. Smart. Got to start working on the bottlenecks now. As part of the agreement, the pair will design and develop multiple generations of AI data center racks in order to keep up with the compute needs of new models. They will work to improve rack architecture so it can be manufactured across the U.S., broaden sourcing to include more chipsets and domestic suppliers, and expand localized testing assembly. Cabling, network, cooling, and power systems in the U.S. Nice, good. How does this work? Although the agreement does not contain purchase commitments or financial obligations, OpenAI will have early access to evaluate these systems and an option to purchase them. What, on a handshake deal? General Motors factory in Lordstown, Ohio. Nice. Okay, well, this announcement is the latest of the U.S.-based move that Taiwan-based electronics manufacturers made in the past year. The U.S.-based moves, yeah, that makes sense. I think this is interesting, and the reason I read this article is it's because we all know, and if you guys have been on my channel a lot, like we all know the data center is going to get more efficient. It's where people are making the most amount of money right now. They will get more efficient. They'll use power more efficiently. It's just going to happen. So if you're going to start to see more and more of these AI companies invest in these semiconductors and pretty much the things that go into these data centers, I don't think the rack design is the issue. I'm thinking about it, and when I read rack design, I was thinking, yeah, is like these aisles of servers truly the most efficient way to do this? Or is there a better rack design that you can actually optimize for? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm thinking, yeah. I'm thinking there definitely probably is. As far as cooling and everything like that, I bet when I have a friend in medical device space, and anytime he has a mentor, and anytime they're like designing new medical devices, they always look to nature because nature is like very efficient and like evolution's always been efficient. So they get a lot of their designs from animals and nature. And so I think you're probably going to see like them look at nature and come up with a design of these like clusters. In my head, I'm thinking like bananas or like grapes. They're on like they have these clusters. They hang from the ceiling and they're like clustered. But how do you do that with servers and chips? Just an idea. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe you could do it. It's a crazy idea. And that's probably enough. That's probably a good point to stop for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. Make sure you like and subscribe. End of the week, so my brain's a little fried, but I hope you guys got after it this week. Hope you guys got closer on some deals, and keep cranking away. It's up to us to build the next generation of AI infrastructure. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and let's do it together. See ya.